Righto, welcome to another Skitz tip. In this episode we're going to be looking at the 3D camera tracker and how I like to use it. So what I've done is I've got some footage, ABC drone footage here, and I'll leave a link down in the comments for you to download it from a OneDrive link. I'm going to go ahead and just drag that onto the composition button and create a composition with that footage in it. I'm going to look at this footage, and I don't want to use the whole footage to track this, because if I drop the 3D camera effect on the entire layer, it'll take a lot longer to process the whole thing. So I only want to process the section that I'm using. So I'm going to just use from about here to about here. Bring that back up to the beginning, and using my FX console, I'm going to add the 3D camera tracker. Now that's going to analyze the footage in the background. Once it's finished that process, you'll have all these colored dots all over your composition. Now if you click off the footage, they'll disappear. If you click back on the footage, you still won't see them, but don't panic. They are all saved in the actual effect in your effects panel. So what I like to do here is I like to scrub along and then find a point where that target lines up nicely with an object in the scene. And for this one, I'm going to pick this one right here, because it looks like it's sitting right on top of that white building. So I'm going to click once with my left mouse button just to select those 3 points. We can see 1, 2, 3. Inside that triangle, I'm going to right click and I'm going to create a text and camera, not a null and camera, and I'll show you why. So create text and camera. Give it a moment, it'll create a text layer for us. Okay, right now it doesn't look like much, but we can test how it's moving in the scene. And it's not moving very well. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to delete those two, and I'm going to select my drone footage again and the effect. I'm going to try and find another point that might work better than that. I'm going to go with that one right there. Right click, create text and camera, and let's see how this one looks. Okay, that's looking a lot better already. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select that text layer and I'm going to rotate it up, rotate it around, and just try and get it so that it looks like it's actually sitting in the right perspective in the scene here. So a few little adjustments. Now I'm not too worried about how big it is. I'm just going to scale it down. And I'm just going to go and just test that and see how it looks. I'm pretty happy with how that's looking. It's just an example. You can keep going back and changing it until you're really happy with the tracking result. Now obviously we don't want to have the word text there, but maybe you've organized something like a text template, or maybe you want to put an image on a wall or something like that. I'm going to come and grab the ABC tab here. So I'm going to copy that and I'm going to paste it into our scene here like this. Now the text here is parented to the tab, and the text also has a set matte effect, which is what will knock out that text as it animates on. Should do that. There we go. Just needed to adjust that setting. Okay, so what's next? I have the anchor point of this layer already set to the bottom left of my tab. So I'm just going to move that out of the way for now. And we can see that the anchor point for the text layer is right here. So I'm going to select both these layers. I'm going to make them both 3D layers. I'm going to come to text, and I'm going to hit P for position, go into keyframing mode. Now I'm going to go Control C to copy that keyframe. I'm going to paste it onto my tab, and I'm also going to come to that layer and I'm going to grab the orientation. So I'm going to go into keyframing mode again, copy the keyframe, and paste the keyframe there. Now I'm going to hide off my text layer, and we should have a nicely tracked bit of footage. Now I'm getting a little bit of feedback here in the text layer, and that's because it's sharing the same coordinates as the tab. So under position, I'm just going to send it backwards -0.2, and that should resolve the feedback we were getting. Okay, cool. So now my tab is tracked to the footage. I can now scale that up if I need, or I can move it along in the scene. I can position it wherever I need. And based on that original reference point, sorry, I also forgot to delete these keyframes once they're there. Because now I had that original reference point, I can put this tab wherever I want in the scene, and it will be tracked to this footage. Okay, cool. How does that look? Nice. Looks like it needs a little bit of a rotation on the y-axis, just enough to bring it around, and now we're talking.